Majority Leader in the Senate. It's good to see you all. Our 10th town hall this week, and so we've got a few more. As you may know, the government was closed for 3 days. It shut down, and so that took me away from the district those 3 days. I was working at home. With that, we have a bucket. We have a bucket. We have cards in them, and we have people fill out questions and pick them out, and we'll just do that. All right? So you want to pick the first one out? Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, you know. Did you wear a hand? Nice to be on this side. So the question here is, what do you do with the results of your email surveys? Sometimes maybe not all the time, that we release them. And you have to remember that we do this, I think every 2 weeks we do this. So have you seen when we release those, or? Okay. You have, other times? Okay. You get it? Have you seen the results?
No, I don't see the results, but I always fill them out. I just wonder what happens.
Okay. We do release them, whether it's verbally or maybe on the internet, but if you think that you need to.
Email them.
Okay.
Email them.
Does it affect your decision making at all?
Well, you have to, it's a good kind of snapshot. It's not statistically probably accurate, but I'd like to make sure that whatever kind of new technology is out there, right, that you kind of engage people in that. So it does kind of add to the overall. Sometimes last question is the issue, whether you turn off for a vote or issue, but it's 30 minutes. Issues that will take up the conference, and sometimes we're other questions? Linda?
Yes.
Can you grab it? Thank you. It's all on? Okay. Do you believe the mainstream media is fake news? If yes, please offer specific examples such as names of print media and televised news outlets. If no, how you verbalize to your colleagues, or will you remain silent? Does anybody care to put their name on that? If not, okay. Do you want to expand on that, Jill?
I just think, just kind of broadly, I'm interested if you categorize mainstream. I guess could be a question mark if you consider mainstream or not, but I wasn't sure. That's why I put it in quotation marks. I wanted to be as generalized as I could for you, but a little specific in the other two.
So when it comes to receiving your news and where you get it, I think it's important to use a vast variety of sources. That's what I do, whether it's print, radio, television. Have I seen some stories where I've seen biases injected? Yeah, on both sides of the aisle, from both political perspectives. Are they intentional? I don't know, but I think as people naturally we have some biases, and sometimes they may creep in here and there. But that's why I just use a vast variety of different news sources, and I think for the most part people should do that. But I'm going to tell people where to get their news or how to get their news. How do you get your news?
I'm the same way. I consider myself a little bit of a news hound, and I do like to roam, especially television and print sources online. But if it just seems that that our president is always throwing out fake news, and I think that is really undermining the freedom of, not only freedom of speech, but more importantly, free press, the freedom of the free press. And I think that is for all of us, no matter what side we are on, or if we're neutral, I think it is dangerous for our democracy. And to carte blanche say everything is fake news and not to encourage. I mean, if you consider that a threat to our democracy when fake news is thrown out there all the time by whomever, do you consider that a threat to our democracy?
Well, I don't think it's helpful, and it probably doesn't accomplish the end goal that the president wants when he says those things. I think we need to make sure that we have a free and very free First Amendment. Freedom of religion, speech, press, assembly, the right to petition your government. And so any curbs on that, I'm not for.
So will you verbalize to your colleagues, and then that when you feel that is being
If I see
used as a
anything coming
tactic?
down that is actually restricting our First Amendment rights, then I'm going to say something that can't.
I think maybe what she's saying is that we hear this very prominent voice saying fake news, and we see no one saying, trying to push back on that. And so there's the threat. There's a very loud voice that's saying that, and there's no other voices to come and say, wait a minute, that's not fake news. And so it's further making the divide, because you know it's not fake news. Where's your voice?
Well, it's right here, right now, but every time president would say fake news and I commented on it, me and my colleagues aren't going to get a whole lot done.
Right.
But there are times when it is the fundamental core right now of it is an underlying so much of what is the communications that are going on right now. So I hope that you find the courage to speak up and not remain silent when
If there are any attacks on our First Amendment in terms of trying to change those, restrict those.
I just think it's an ongoing attack right now. And I think there's too much silence. We're complicit in our silence.
It says here, no name on it. Anybody can, whoever wrote this, talk after this, make any comments. The impact of trade in agriculture is impossible to understate since the passage of NAFTA. Ag experts have quadrupled. How do you ag exports have quadrupled? How do you feel about what they experienced in negotiating the trade pact? Sure. Do you want to expound on that at all, Dan?
No, just curious what you thought about, sometimes we hear maybe the suggestion pull out of NAFTA or something. That certainly concerns me in agriculture. Just curious what you thought this time.
Well, as you know, the president doesn't like what he calls multilateral trade agreements, Trans-Pacific Partnership. NAFTA is one that he's been talking about getting out of. I don't think that would be a good idea to totally scrap NAFTA. I'm okay with him talking to other countries that we have that trade agreement with and also making sure that's enforced. And looking at different types of NAFTA, and he's doing that. I think we're in about our 6th round so far of that. I don't think that was scrapping. We need markets, and more than what we just have right now. Get rid of anything we have right now, and those would be further detrimental to agriculture. Because right now it's about price of commodities where they're at right now, and agriculture come down 4 years in a row. It's very harmful. The president says he likes bilateral trade agreements, country to country. If that's true, then let's get on with it. Because every day that we aren't doing that, those countries, especially that were in the Trans-Pacific Partnership trade agreement, are just getting one step further down the road on that. There's a bipartisan group, voices within Congress, who are wanting to make sure that we have an aggressive trade agenda. Mike Heiser's our trade negotiator, trade president, trade rep. I would hope that our U.S. Secretary of Agriculture, Purdue, would be in the room whenever there's talk about trade, because I think he has been the voice that we need right now to make sure that the president and his team don't do anything pretty rash when it comes to trade. He has talked, the president was at the American Farm Bureau convention on weeks ago in Nashville, and talked about his commitment to agriculture and rural economy, and we'll trade companies that. You want to tell me any more thoughts you may have?
No, just appreciate your response.
Carl, how you doing? Good. Can we pull a question out of there? Thank you. Just says simply, can you provide an update on funding for Center for Abuse and CDC, infectious disease?
Yeah, Pam Dykeman, I
Pam.
understand. Hello. I just wanted to make the point that the CDC, been cut in terms of budget. We all know all that. But specifically, I wanted to make the link around infectious diseases. In 08 and then in 10, the Department of Public Health here in Iowa, we had 6 epidemiologists on federal funding, and then the state only pays for 1 salary, which is Dr. Phillips' salary. And that now is down to 2 or less. And infectious diseases are not going down. I mean, I wish they were, if there was a miracle somewhere that would. And so I think there's a critical level here that there is danger that the public health system specifically is going to be dysfunctional. Does that make sense? For the things that are important, the safe environment, the safe public health strategies. So I just want to make that point that as you look at the budgets and stuff, as that keeps coming up, especially, with those things going on right now, I just want to point that out for Iowa.
Okay.
So that's just advocacy to really take a peek down in there and make sure infectious disease money gets down to the state.
Very good. Sequestration, you've heard of that word, right? Thank you, government, for teaching us new terms and words. We're operating under sequestration. We're trying to get out from under that. That was a problem. So we're trying to find some, work on a budget funding deal, change the way we budget. I don't think sequestration was the way to do it. Linda, DACA and immigration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read the article in the paper today, and you had said, apparently yesterday in your meeting, you had said that you didn't see full citizenship, but you thought something should happen. So I would address with the bill that they're working on in the Senate, and of course the
Bill.
Well, I know, and then
Yeah.
there's, they just all went back and forth about whether the House will agree on that before the next ending or the government funding bill. So I just kind of wondered what your position is on that.
Yeah. So I want to make sure that we don't just get a deal, that we get a solution to this issue, and that we take care of those who are here, the DACA recipients, dreamers as they're called, to give their legal status, and at the same time, we have to make sure that this doesn't happen again. That's going to, I think, have to be married up with border security. And border security, people talk differently about that, about what that means, how you do it. I don't want to build a wall from Gulf of Mexico to San Diego. I don't think it's effective. If you talk to governors down there on those states, state on the border or border patrol, different sectors have different needs in different areas. I don't know if anybody here has been to the border, but San Diego, Tijuana sector, you're going to need more Coast Guard, probably ground penetrating radar because of tunnels being built. Cochise County, Arizona, you're going to need more border patrol on horseback. McAllen, Texas, you're going to need some fortified levees on the walls of the Rio Grande there. Maybe some unmanned aerial vehicles, so different needs in different areas. So the question is, when are we going to get this done? And the president has taken this out of the hands of the executive branch, where President Obama put it, and says, Congress, this is your issue to deal with. It shouldn't be in the executive branch in the White House. And so he gave us the date of March 5th. He says, well, maybe we'll do that if we don't get it done. I don't think we should start moving the goalposts on the day right now, negotiating with ourselves on that. It's an issue that needs to get done.
Now, are you talking about immigration now, the immigrant? what-
So there's the broader issue of immigration, of course, and then and then more narrowly, working on the docket,
Oh,
which is
well, that's
really the
what I-
docket
yeah.
issue.
Okay, and you see those having to be together as a.
Yeah, because I don't think you can get them done alone, each of those issues.
Define your definition of legal status versus citizenship.
Well, you're here legally, but you don't have citizenship.
Okay, so define that. So they're gonna be entitled to Social Security down the road with that classification, or?
So these will be some of the questions that will be under the definition, and, we're compassionate and merciful people. We don't want anybody to go by the wayside. At the same time, there's got to be some kind of difference between legal status and citizenship, and maybe states have a role in defining what that is when it comes to their state welfare programs or something like that. But it's a pretty important issue that we have to deal with now. It can be very emotional. Of course, it's because we're talking about some kids who came over here at a young age, down in school, or some are in the military now, right? And all they know is the United States of America. And setting them to country of origin of their parents, they would be strangers in a strange land. And so many of them, and the majority of them are here working hard, excelling, they're leaders in their own right. So
I think that if I might add something, is that I think all of the media has forgotten that to remind all of us that those dreamers, those kids, we ask them to come forward willingly and to give us their information, and that we promise them as a nation, as a country, as a legislative body, that we would that they would be safe. And actually immigration has been goes further back than just the Obama. It's gone back, I think, was it 2011 that that bill was passed through the Senate, and the House didn't even bring it up for a vote. I may be off on the year, but let's not forget that as a nation, as a legislative body, we promised them if they came forward, and now we're failing them. And so that's why I think we should do everything. I think it'll be one of our biggest civil, I can't, it's word searching, but we are, it's not who we are as a nation. And I don't understand why we can't give to citizenship when they have grown up here. They've gone through the school systems. They are in our military and in our educational systems and become productive citizens. Why wouldn't we want them to give citizenship? But I do disagree, and maybe an extension of your question is to give complete carte blanche citizenship to them, but to then eliminate any kind of the other things that current proposal wants to cut out, which is, the visa lottery and those things. I mean, is that who we want to be too?
Follow. I mean, do you guys have a plan? I mean, we hear we gotta do something, I mean, March 5th is not that far away. Is there a basic blueprint? You guys can legislate anything you want.
well, you gotta have the votes to do that.
Well, I know that, but do you have anything, is there even a draft of a bill? for anything
Well,
at
there's
this point?
groups in the House and the Senate who are trying to get some proposals put together. There are some bills that have been introduced. And I just want to render judgment on the final, whatever comes to the floor of the House, instead of putting my name on any certain bill or proposal right now. But I do want to see that these kids are here and have a legal status. I do want to make sure that that's married to border security. And I do not want this to happen again to have kids put in this position again. And for Americans' sake as well, and worry about our sovereignty and of course. hint exactly when a vote will happen, but I want to stick to that March 5th deadline. I don't want to be kicking the ball, the can down the road like so many issues are.
One follow-up on that same topic. Are you committed to making that a sticking point before the next funding resolution? Or are you looking at March 5th as the only deadline?
Well, I would like to see that one stick. I mean, the reason why I think we got out of this last shutdown jam was because of conversations that were had and bringing this issue to the forefront sooner rather than later, and everybody thinking in mind that March 5th date will stick. So, does that answer your question?
I don't think so.
Well, I want the March 5th date to stick, but I'm one of 535 members of Congress.
So if there's not a appeal to protect the dreamers before early February deadline, you would be okay with continuing to vote for a continuing resolution without protections for dreamers yet?
I want that commitment of March 5th, but I would still, I'm not somebody who likes to shut down the government. You know, I think that's not good for everybody, especially our military and those who are issuing services out there to the government, to the people. So I'm not a fan of government shutdown.
I didn't want to end it, but one of those, the big advantages of Oxford is to take those people out of the shadow and just give them a chance to get better employment. So there are a lot of them are paying in on Social Security right now. Anyway,
I agree they're paying in, I just want to
just not
know if
getting
we're
it.
giving citizens so full benefits.
Yeah. But we don't know what those, that gray line looks like.
Well, that's why I say, you hear it all the time on the news, legal status with a pathway to citizenship, or just give them citizenship. I just like to know how that's being defined.
I think that'll come down when we are actually laying down the language and having that debate.
So will they be deported? If nothing passes, are they gonna be, whoever wins decides, that ICE decides to go in and take people out, after they told us?
I think what would happen was, and I think the president has intimated this, is that he would do another round of protection again.
But with all due respect, President Trump says one thing one day and one thing another day, and it's not always clear about what he's talking about. And
Well, I don't want to see him deported. I want to get solutions. I think everybody does. And on both
The point
sides.
is, does Congress have a solution? We're not hearing anything solid from Congress.
Yeah, there's not a commitment.
We hear, oh, we want it, but there's no members of Congress have come out and said, this is what, we want to legislate to protect the dreamers, to,
I think there are a lot of different voices out there. I'm
regarding,
talking here.
border security.
And not one person can be the spokesperson to say, hey, this is it, this is how it's going to be done.
But we're not hearing anything.
Well,
who are the
Give me
champions?
something.
Who are the champions of that? There's gotta be people in Congress.
The Speaker of the House.
Yeah, so who are the champions on it that, are there champions who are working towards a solution that maybe isn't hitting the news that you know about? I think that's what we want to know. Is there real work being done to solve
yeah, the
problem?
speaker put together months ago kind of a rough group of members in the House to work on this, primarily those from committees of jurisdiction, from Judiciary Committee and Homeland Security committees, and from members who border those states or from those districts that border the border.
Was it bipartisan?
Democrats have also done the same thing, and that so there was a bipartisan bill that has already been introduced there. Will Hurd from Texas is the leading Republican, and the head of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus on the Democratic side is the other person on that. So that's a bipartisan effort. There are some other bills that have been introduced as well. And in the Senate, there's groups working together, trying to give the kind of input that I want to give, and receiving input here.
Before we leave the topic, can you tell me how you feel about President Trump's plan that would cut legal immigration by about 50%? How do you feel about that, about legal immigration?
I don't know if the president does he directly have that power to do that? Those rates?
I don't know. You You don't know? We don't know if you don't know. So he wants to cut the family immigration, and he wants to cut the visa lottery.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about those?
Well, I think some people call it chain migration. Some people don't like that term, or family reunification. But I think you should keep that as narrowly as you can within that family unit to spouses or minor children, because it can get to a place where it can go on and on within a family through generations and that kind of thing. Visa lottery is something that, to me, never really quite made sense. And I want to see, I'd like to see E-Verify eventually. There's Sarah's Law, something that I care about. He has running a statute. Council Bus was killed by somebody here illegally. But I think if you get it too big, it can sink under its own weight. So that's why people are trying to keep this as narrowly defined as possible. But that there could be more work done on other immigration issues, just really kind of looking at our current system. You know, 40% of those here illegally have just overstayed visas and those kind of things. And how does that happen? Why does it happen? And are we securing our ports of entry, seaports and airports, and what's going on with the northern border, those kind of things.
Excuse me, Congressman, before we leave, could you just use as an example the murder of somebody by an illegal immigrant as a reason for you to want to change the law?
I just told you about something that I support and would like to see in the broader context of immigration reform.
I understand that, but the argument that's being used by Republicans, namely, are these very high, visible, but very minor issue of crime committed by illegals that has absolutely no place in this debate. It's crime that's committed by everybody in every class and every stratification. So I think what we're looking for from you as our congressman, as what your plan is, what do you support? Are you going to take at least be visible and vocal in directing your leadership on what you want and thus what this district wants from our congressmen, so that we can have a viable understanding of the direction of the plan that you want to take? Because cutting it off to the traditional kind of talking points of the Republican leadership is not acceptable. We want to know what you think and what you're going to fight for and what you believe in and what your arguments are that are either illegitimate or legitimate. We want to hear them.
Been having some great conversations, sharing my thoughts, what may happen, what may not happen, what could come up and not come up. I want it to happen soon. I want to solve this. And whoever else has ideas within Congress, you know, they get one vote and I get one vote as well. So not one person is going to have more power over another with their idea or anything like that.
But it'd be nice if you fought for what your ideas are and knew what they were.
Well, part of the process is, and the representational government is also, you have, you know, your opinions, you also have a district representative. You know, there's many kind of factors that you bring in play when you make a decision. You know that.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. Brenda.
Right here.
Yep, regarding proactivity to reduce gun violence. Expound on that, go ahead.
Well, I could go expound for hours. I'll try to be brief. Well, one of the things that was just mentioned, you know, blaming Democrats that immigrants kill somebody. Why don't we blame all of our legislators that are pro-NRA and gun lobbyists for the 90-some deaths that happen every day with guns? I think some people should be held responsible for that. You know, this shooting in Kentucky, this last school shooting where 2 teenagers were killed by another teenager, it hardly made the news because it happens all the time. It is, I want something done proactive, and I hear, oh, it's mental health. well, Great Britain, Spain, all those have mental health problems. They don't have the gun violence we do. Besides that, we have loopholes that could be stopped with background checks. And no law is going to stop it all, but we can reduce it. We have speed limits. Do people always obey them? No. Laws are going to be broken. But speed limits help reduce car accidents and deaths. We can do something about guns. We can have our Second Amendment, but we need to also make it safe. We have an amendment, we should have freedom to live safely. Go to schools, go to theaters, go to churches, and not be afraid of somebody coming up with a gun. So we can do something. You guys can do something. Stop just listening to the NRA and the gun lobbies. And it's become sort of bipartisan. I know there's some Democrats that are still that way and follow the NRA, but it shouldn't be bipartisan. It should be for safety for us all.
I appreciate your passion, and we're all horrified when we see these things happen.
Yeah, and I call regularly, and I get these canned responses. I don't see you doing anything.
Well, my philosophy on the Second Amendment comes from the Constitution and not any outside groups. Or,
And the Second Amendment, yes, gives us the right to bear arms. Does that give us carte blanche? We have the First Amendment with freedom of speech. There are liable laws and so forth. There can be regulations, and people can still have guns, but have them in a responsible manner. There's no way we're going to take away all the guns. And we have a Second Amendment, but we can still have gun sense.
I think first and foremost, we need to make sure that those who are responsible gun owners make sure that they are truly responsible and keeping their guns out of the reach of their children and locked up and they know where they are.
Definitely.
All the time. I think that's important. I believe in background checks and have been advocates of more funding for background check system. As well.
How come when it comes to concealed carry reciprocity, you go along with that? You're loosening gun laws instead of tightening them. The Second Amendment has been here for a long time. Did concealed carry reciprocity affect that? But you voted for it. Why?
I believe that law-abiding citizens should have the ability to protect themselves where they are, given the laws and rules under any other state.
But what about state rights? I thought Republicans wanted local rights.
Sure, if it was illegal in another state, then you wouldn't be able to do that.
Well, concealed carry reciprocity was a bad move.
It tramples on state rights, which Republicans, I thought, were concerned with. I was also disgusted because I sent you a letter saying that I was opposed to it. And what I got in response back was saying, oh, I'm glad to hear that you agree with my stance on concealed carry reciprocity. I already knew that sending letters and emails to the office just seemed like it was going down a black hole. But it was beyond insulting to then get a response back that showed absolutely not even any attention paid to my concern. I later got another response back that was supposed to be directed to somebody else who had a concern on concealed carry reciprocity. So your office really was insulting with that. Again, I expect the form letters that are just lip service and yeah, we want to hear from you, pat on the head, give us a call, but very insulting, disappointed, and disgusted with your vote on concealed carry reciprocity on many levels.
I'm sorry you received the wrong response, Brenda. I apologize. And we'll work to fix that.
I'd rather have you work to fix the gun laws.
Well, Brenda, you said no law is going to stop it all.
Right. But we can do something.
So should we not do anything?
You know, we have laws against murder, we have laws, all these laws, and they get broken, but they do help reduce things. So we can have laws that can help reduce gun violence. You know,
there are certain laws out there, and one thing that
we're losing them. And bump stocks. Oh, after the mass shooting, wow, no, that's going to infringe on second. It's just all talk and nothing to help at all.
Gun laws and talk in terms of the economy, because what we're hearing right now is that tourism in the United States is like 30% down. And I don't think it's just because of Trump. I think it's because people are afraid to come to the United States because there are more and more kids who are being, college kids sent over here who are being shot, and people wondering where they're going to be in a situation where there's some kind of American violence. And so maybe attention will be paid when we have no tourism because we're known as the Wild West country and nobody wants to be here. And that's where we're becoming. And you know, I'm for guns. My husband has guns. I was married to an Olympic gun shooter. I'm all for guns and done appropriately. But my mother tells me now she's afraid to go places because she doesn't know he's got a gun. And that is not the world that anybody wants to live in. A fear. And to totally take all the brakes off and say, even people with mental health issues, if they show something that they can have a gun, and there's no stop to it. And it is simply driven by the NRA because they want to sell more guns, period. So we need somebody who can stand up to the lobbyist, and we want it to be you. You said you're here to represent the district, not your party. So this is an issue that you can represent your district on and not your party.
Well, I can tell you that, we've had conversations, I brag right a lot.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Well, go ahead and comment, Bill, because it's a very passionate issue, right? Nobody likes to see these shootings. Nobody likes to see that.
And how many crimes have been stopped by concealed carry?
There are ways to do that, but they have absolutely no tools. The economy will solve itself because people will stop coming to the United States. It's already happening, and it's because of the guns.
And of course, we don't want, people who have some emotional or mental health issues receiving, having guns. We don't want that. We also want to be careful as well that we don't stigmatize everybody who has maybe mental health issues, that they could be sometimes killers as well. But I believe that there should be some kind of adjudication where folks with mental health issues, they shouldn't have a gun, it should be adjudicated in court of law. And they should be able to have that. They should also be able to petition for that right back. But you get into that, then you start getting into health privacy issues as well.
There's all kinds of complications, but you can't just say it's tough, so let's not do anything, and let's make it open, totally. And I said, I support guns. I have guns in my house. It's not that I'm against guns. I just think that there has to be some control.
There have been 11 school shootings in our country as of today.
This year.
26 days, and we've had 11 school shootings.
They don't even make the news anymore.
Jennifer?
Same
Jennifer,
question.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, because my wrong.
No, this, we're good
Okay.
on that point.
Not a name on here, but it's just says, how much pressure do Republican leaders give you to vote a certain way? So was, asked that.
That's actually me.
Oh, Bill? You did too, Bill? That's okay. Well, that's when I was at today in Bridgewater, somebody asked me.
Oh, okay. Well, if you just look at the votes, it's very long party lines. I mean, look at the last budget thing, it was 95% voted for it, and 95% of the Democrats voted against it. I just gotta wonder what kind of, they got some pressure that they can.
Well, my voting card is not owned by Republican leadership, okay? And you have Republicans and Democrats, and that's kind of for a reason. People want to kind of philosophically on two sides and choose the party that they believe that philosophy matches up with. And so I think that's probably part of it. I don't always vote with my party leadership.
Can you give us an example where you did?
The appropriations bills, I'm on the appropriations committee, there's times I've not voted for appropriations bills. budget bills. You know, I have to go back and give you a list of every time I've broken ranks with, and you can look that up on the internet, but, not a lot of pressure. They don't call and say, hey, how you voting?
I have a question about that, and, you know, and I don't know, but you, and you hear these things, but like when you vote, it's kind of like, some people get the okay to vote against it because you're running for something, and they make sure they have the majority, just so, okay, we've got enough votes to pass it, so that gives maybe 7 or 8 people the permission to vote the other way to show that you're nonpartisan. So does that happen?
There may be some cases where that may happen, but not with me, and generally I don't think, they would bring a bill to the floor to vote on unless they thought the votes were there anyway.
So they have to be asking how you're gonna vote. If they're not gonna bring it to the floor until they know they've got the votes, they've gotta be asking how you're gonna vote.
You have they call it blips, right? Yeah. And they kind of want a general idea of how you're gonna vote on this, but if they don't like your answer, they don't, I've never been told, well, you better retake that, you know, just say, where are you?
Why did it go to the President Trump the most in the delegation? Wasn't Steve King?
So there's a lot of different groups out there
What
who
was the question?
do voting rankings and match you up percentage-wise with who you vote with or may not vote with, and who knows how they come up with that data metrics, but the president or Steve King or Chuck Grassley or Joni Ernst, Speaker Ryan, just because they're not my boss. My boss ought to be in the 3rd district. And people know how I vote, and they can render, judgment on that. So,
Congressman, you can answer this, maybe you did, but I've heard from my party, Democrats, and you have 3rd or 4th strongest voting member for the president. And I don't. And I don't know. I haven't actually.
well, the president doesn't vote, so I don't know where they come up with this. But anyway,
That's what I wanted to ask you, is that you're being at least labeled by our party, and maybe unfair, as one of the strongest supporter of President Trump and all of his proposals. So how would you answer that? Besides,
So the president's not my boss. Like I said, you look for the I look at the issues and how, what I'm hearing at home, how they match up, how I think they'll affect the church district. And that's how I read my judgment on it.
Maybe this is an unfair question to ask because it's asking you to talk about things that are historical, but it used to be we have votes across party lines. We used to have that, and we don't have it anymore. And even though I tend to be on one part or the other, I really want strong parties. I think both voices have to be heard and come to the middle. And it used to be that we could have people come to the middle. Do you have an opinion as to why that has changed? I mean, that is what leads people to think that there's party controlling people. But something has changed. Something has changed where we don't have people who are willing to say, here's the middle ground, and let's, even though our party might be saying this is where the American people are, so let's come together. Why has that changed? Why don't we see that anymore?
Well, I guess it depends on where you're looking, right? If you're just gonna, go through that filter of our media, and we need our media, obviously, but a lot of times they don't report about anti-human trafficking bills that we pass, or the bills for veterans that we pass, or agriculture, or education, that are very bipartisan, and a lot gets done in legislatures, before the House and Senate, and passed that are very, very bipartisan. In fact, the majority of it's bipartisan. You don't hear a lot about that because why? It's not controversial, so you don't hear that. But there are some issues that people are just really, are principled on each side of the aisle, and that's what they believe, and they're passionate about it, and it's hard to move on that issue. But I think compromise is something that needs to be done on some of these big issues, right? On the docket issue, the border issue, and you can, compromise without giving up your soul, your principles, your mores, your values. You know, the saying is, you know, you're not always gonna get the whole loaf of bread, you may get half of it, we'll take it. And move the ball down the line. 3 yards in a cloud of dust, right, rather than the touchdown pass. If you look at, you know, just, I guess, districts across the country, a lot of people talk about, why is there a Republican plus 30 district here, and a Democrat plus 20 district here, and why can't there be some more districts that are Republican leaning by 1, or Democrat leaning by 2, and where it causes people to start from the middle, actually, and work outward. And of course, that's really up to the states in terms of how they do their districts. But there's a lot more being passed that you don't hear about. And whenever I have a bill or an amendment, I'm always looking for a Democrat counterpart. And the bills that I've got passed in the law have been highly bipartisan and passed. And
Can we have that in your emails then, or just maybe just a list or a topic or something that says, because I think that would go a long way to helping people, I mean, could feel like we're a country and not just a party.
Also, you see things that they may not know.
Right.
Yeah.
And have it under bipartisan.
Right.
You know, don't make us search for it. Yeah, bipartisan legislation.
Or just
Or
bipartisan, the
whatever.
letters that are written to the administration are bipartisan.
But sort it out how you want, but I think that we are all being misjudged because we see and recognize when things are politicized and what's happening with this gridlock between the parties. And it is, silence is complicit. And we see that, we recognize it. And we need strong voices to stand up within your party, to stand against your own moral convictions. That's what we yearn for. And it's the Republican Party who is going to have to stand strong and find their voice. And then you will be heroes. We're looking for some heroes.
Well, I'm not. A lot of people, I'm not looking to be a hero.
Well, that's our loss then.
Yeah, I want to do the right thing, but I don't want to be any kind of national figure or anything like that.
No. I'm just saying to speak up and stand up as with your own convictions when it's necessary, and we are in a time of necessity.
I think part of this is when you're watching the news or listening to the radio or hearing what's going on out and about, you hear some pretty strong rhetoric on both sides of the aisle, right? And you think, wow, they're just fighting, that's all that gets done. And, you know, I'm wired differently. I don't do that. I don't like to call people names and cast judgment on people. I don't know their hearts, right? So those who are out there kind of yelling and shouting, there's some of the same characters on both sides of the aisle. They're ostracized from the political process, really, when it comes down to it. When it's time to sit down at the table of solutions, they're not there. And if they're not there, then 700,000 people in the district have no representation, so I vow not to do that. You know, just not wired that way.
I'm not asking you to be somebody you're not. I'm just asking for you to stand up and express, if you have to go against, with your own convictions, if it goes against the party line, those times that you find the courage to find your voice in some manner.
You may have not seen it, but they have something they call 1-minute speeches that you can give on the floor of the House. In December and earlier this month, I went down to the floor of the House of Representatives and talked about how ridiculous it was that the Children's Health Insurance Program expired on September 30th, and my gosh, it was December, it was January, and they're not extending it. And I criticized my party, and the other party, and anybody else who was using this issue for political points and taking this on as brinkmanship. Thankfully, we got that passed for 6-year Children's Health Insurance Program authorization, the longest that we've ever done that program.
But that was used as a politicized, as well.
And I
It was
called
used
it
as
out.
a bargaining.
I-
Yes, and I appreciate that, but it was used as a bargaining chip when it should have already, as he said, been passed by itself. And that's unfortunate.
And now the same thing is happening with community health centers and the special diabetes program. which need to come to us. No?
Come on, man.
Why do some legislators continue to refer to Social Security and Medicare as entitlements? It's G. Joanne Collins.
She had to leave early and she wanted me to make sure I call her to tell her what that
Okay.
thing about.
Do you want me as well? I can talk about this right now as well.
I'm interested in
I can
it.
call her as well.
But just one thing, but Joanne is concerned about this, how it's being used as, the.
So it is referred to as that. And I always make the point that it's not an entitlement.
Thank
It
you.
is something you own.
Yes.
That you paid into.
Uh-huh.
And then you need to make sure that you receive it and get it back. Because it's not something, when we think of entitlements, we think of something given to you that you get nothing in return for. But no, it's yours. And that's a pretty sacred bond between the government and the people when it comes to Social Security and Medicare. Making sure that that is solvent and that it is strong and is there for not just current generation, but generations down the line. Go ahead.
My question kind of related. In 1982, President Reagan had the tax cut, and I'm sure I benefited. But to pay for it, frankly, they raided the Social Security. Trust me. My concern right now is, how are they going to pay for this tax cut? I'm not going to trust trickle down anymore. That was supposed to happen, it didn't. And so the deficit, yes, I'm a moderate. I'm really concerned about a deficit. You pay for it. And with that, don't raise Social Security, trust me, or the Medicare, what we have been paying into. I'm not sure what's
Yeah. So after the tax bill went through, there's something called pay-go, which kind of demands that you go and find savings, and it opens it up to many programs. So we passed something, we waived pay-go, which said it was bipartisan, it was a vote that said you don't touch Social Security. That, like the actuaries say, that in so many years, if we do nothing, folks are going to get about 75% of the benefits. And so we have to keep that in mind and figure out a way to keep it going.
Replace what was.
Where people get their full benefits, right? And it's not just 75%. You go back to the 80s, where you had an Irishman in the White House named Ronald Reagan, and an Irishman that's Speaker of the House on Capitol Hill from Boston named Tip O'Neill, right? Two different sides.
Mr. Alan Greenspan.
Two different parties. And there was an issue regarding making sure that there was solvency. And those of them came together, a couple of Irishmen, and said this is not a political problem. It could become one, but it's really a problem about people keeping their promise to them. And they came together and helped solve that, but now we're in the same situation again. So to fix this and make sure that this is there for those that was promised to and paid into it, it's got to be bipartisan solution. It has to be. It just won't go through in a partisan way. And it's got to be done in a transparent fashion as well, where it's not just some commission or committee behind the doors and they say, vote on this. It's got to be done out in the open with feedback from the American people on the floor of the House and Senate and committee. But you also have to have the cooperation of whoever else is at the other end of Pennsylvania Avenue. So I think there's a willingness in Congress to deal with this. But right now, President Trump, and he said that's during the campaign that he doesn't want to touch it or he will take it away. So.
I'm a financial advisor, so I ought to say as often as I can, because I think education is important on this issue. When I started 30 years ago, our average age we assumed people would die was 80. It's now 90. So we do necessarily change our promises to people who are close, but, you know, it is a system that we have to have it keep up with demographics. And I'm saying that as a Democrat, to my Democrat friends, that, you know, there's gonna be some tough things that are gonna have to happen with Social Security in order to make it viable and sustainable. And so I'm just saying that out there as education. I deal with it every day. That
You see it in real life.
I see it in real life.
They're tough decisions, but,
Yeah.
you know, you bring up issue about life expectancy is so much longer. And, you know, any changes I wouldn't touch people who are currently receiving and those baby boomers coming up. You know, we talked about lifting the caps and means testing. I think those are two issues that people can listen to and maybe get behind, I hope. And also for the younger workers coming in on the age issue, that's where we would probably start that.
I do want to say something about lifting the caps. Because lifting the caps, if you say to a small business owner that, okay, we're gonna tax everything that you earn, you're gonna have some people, small business owners are gonna have to fire some people, because as a small business owner, you know, I contribute both sides to Social Security. So I'm doing, you know, 15% on $130,000 now. And if you say you have to run all of my salary, all of my income, it means I'm gonna have to let somebody go. And then the other thing about that is already, if I'm at the top end of the cap, then I am paying in 4 times as much as the person who's on the bottom end, and I'm only getting half the benefit. So if you lift the cap, you've got to either lift the benefits or not lift the cap. And I think a better solution is to look at maybe a donut hole, where you say, we keep it at 130, but if you have income over $1 million or $2 million, whatever the number is, then you're going to have to pay the full boat on Social Security. And that would prevent a lot of these CEOs getting $90 million for a 1-year bonus, because if they had to pay Social Security at 14% on that, and then pay their state income tax and pay the federal income tax, they're going to get about 60% tax rate on that. And that's going to cause them to think about, do I need that bonus, or should I be like the rest of the world and let that go back into my company and take maybe something smaller? So I think a donut hole is a way to be approaching that particular situation.
Sounds like we have a commission, we should probably.
I would love
So you have to all those perspectives together. You want
I just wanted to link back to the Social Security. Is it 18 years has been at war? Correct? Whatever amount. And one of the things that we as a nation, when we talk about solutions, when we choose to go to war, there's a cost to war. And I think that that's just a conversation that we continue to push down the road, and it takes away from not only Social Security, but it takes away from every program and everything that we do. So I just wanted to, what those hard choices is maybe as a dialogue as a nation, we the people say, okay, if we really do want to go to war for 18 years, we need to pay for that. We need to raise the taxes or whatever method you want to choose, but there's a cost for that.
cost in lives and cost monetarily as well.
Lives and treasure, and it's just like a conversation that has not, doesn't follow from the moment that we went to war. It didn't follow through, and then we wonder why we have deficits and things. And so, just a dimension that I think that needs to be added to that, because there is a lot of fear that there will not be Social Security for those that have paid all these years.
And you tend to see a lot of those polls, especially millennials or Gen Zers now. Yeah. And they don't believe it's going to be there.
Right? It's really right.
But we need to make sure that those are things that receive it. I want to thank you all for coming today. And taking time out of your busy schedules and your lives to participate and represent our government. If you ever in Washington, D.C., we want to make sure that we take care of your family in some way. Sit down with you in the office, have a coffee or soda, give you a capital tour as well. If you have issues here with Social Security or Medicare, or a veteran who didn't get his awards or her awards, we want to be able to advocate for you in that way. We have office in Preston, Council Bluffs, and England. So appreciate you coming today.